की 10 मीटर एयर राइफल होगी। टोक्यो आयोजन समिति के अध्यक्ष योशिरो मोरी और सीईओ तोशिरो मुतो ने अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ओलंपिक समिति के सदस्यों को ये जानकारी दी। 4 दशक से पदक के लिए इंतजार कर रही भारतीय पुरुष हॉकी टीम टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स में अपने अभियान का आगाज 24 जुलाई को न्यूजीलैंड के खिलाफ करेगी। महिला टीम उसी दिन नेदरलैंड्स के खिलाफ अपना पहला मैच खेलेगी। अगले साल ओलंपिक्स में हॉकी के मुकाबले 24 जुलाई से 6 अगस्त के बीच आयोजित होंगे। 8 बार की चैंपियन भारतीय टीम को ऑस्ट्रेलिया, अर्जेंटीना, स्पेन, न्यूजीलैंड और मेजबान जापान के साथ ग्रुप ए में रखा गया है। भारतीय पुरुष टीम को 25 जुलाई को ऑस्ट्रेलिया से, 27 जुलाई को स्पेन से, 29 जुलाई को पिछले साल की चैंपियन अर्जेंटीना और 30 जुलाई को जापान से खेलना है। ग्रुप बी में बेल्जियम, नेदरलैंड्स, जर्मनी, ब्रिटेन, कनाडा और साउथ अफ्रीका हैं। महिला वर्ग में भारत को पूल ए में नेदरलैंड, जर्मनी, ब्रिटेन, आयरलैंड और साउथ अफ्रीका के साथ रखा गया है। महिला टीम को 24 जुलाई को नेदरलैंड से, 26 जुलाई को जर्मनी से, 28 जुलाई को ब्रिटेन से और 29 जुलाई को अर्जेंटीना से और 30 जुलाई को मेजबान जापान से खेलना है। इंडियन प्रीमियर लीग की शुरुआती 8 टीमों में से एक डेक्कन चार्जर्स को हटाना बीसीसीआई को भारी पड़ गया है। इस केस में कोर्ट ने एक आर्बिट्रेटर नियुक्त किया था जिसने बीसीसीआई के खिलाफ अपना फैसला दिया है। आर्बिट्रेटर ने बीसीसीआई पर 4,800 करोड़ रुपए का जुर्माना लगाया है। डेक्कन चार्जर्स का मालिकाना हक पहले डेक्कन क्रॉनिकल्स होल्डिंग्स के पास था। यह मामला 2012 का है। तब हैदराबाद के एक मीडिया ग्रुप ने आईपीएल टीम से डेक्कन चार्जर्स को हटाने पर आईपीएल के फैसले को चुनौती दी थी। बोर्ड ने 15 सितंबर 2012 को लीग के गवर्निंग काउंसिल की आपातकालीन बैठक बुलाकर डेक्कन चार्जर्स को आईपीएल से निकाल दिया था। डेक्कन क्रॉनिकल्स होल्डिंग्स इस फैसले के खिलाफ बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट गई। हाई कोर्ट ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के एक रिटायर्ड जज को 8 साल पहले आर्बिट्रार नियुक्त किया था। इस टीम ने दूसरे सीजन में आईपीएल खिताब भी अपने नाम किया था। और इसके साथ ही इस बुलेटिन में फिलहाल इतना ही। दीजिए इजाजत। नमस्कार।
अरे बबलू, लॉकडाउन खुलते ही टहलने निकल पड़े। महामारी अभी फैली हुई है।
सरपंच जी टहलने नहीं, काम पे वापस जा रहे हैं।
तुझे डर नहीं लगता वायरस पकड़ लेगा?
पहले थोड़ा बहुत डर लगता था, फिर पता चला कि अगर मैंने पूरी सावधानी बरती तो ये बीमारी होने की संभावना कम है। सबसे महत्वपूर्ण है ये मास्क। काम पर मास्क हमेशा पहनूंगा, समय समय पर हाथ धोता रहूंगा और दूसरों से हर वक्त कम से कम 2 गज की दूरी बनाए रखूंगा। खुद को, दूसरों को और अपने परिवार वालों को भी सुरक्षित रखूंगा।
अरे भाई, मेरी जिम्मेदारी बनती है तुझे चेतावनी देना, सो दे दिया।
जब देश के मेडिकल और स्वच्छता कर्मचारी रोज कोरोना वायरस से लड़ने का काम कर रहे हैं तो हमारी भी तो जिम्मेदारी बनती है अपना काम करने की।
बबलू, तुझे कुछ हो गया तो?
हजारों लोग इस बीमारी को हराकर ठीक हो चुके हैं और अगर किसी कारण मुझे ये बीमारी हो भी जाए तो सरकार ने अस्पताल में हमारे इलाज के लिए पर्याप्त व्यवस्था कर रखी है। ये घबराने का वक्त नहीं, एक दूसरे का हौसला बढ़ाने का वक्त है।
अरे ऐसे क्या देख रहा है? तू काम पे जाएगा, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, नाक नहीं कट जाएगी मेरी। चलो।
मास्क।
हाँ, मास्क।
अरे नाक तो ढक लो।
हाँ।
कोरोना वायरस से हमें लड़ाई जारी रखनी पड़ेगी, पर उससे डर कर नहीं, पूरी सावधानी के साथ डट कर चलिए। रुकी जिंदगी को आगे बढ़ाएं, देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनाएं। जय हिंद।
हम आप तक लेके आ रहे हैं कोरोना वॉरियर्स का ये अंक पुट्ठी ग्राम परीक्षितगढ़ ब्लॉक मेरठ डिस्ट्रिक्ट उत्तर प्रदेश से। निगरानी समिति जो हर पंचायत ने बनाई है कोविड का संक्रमण रोकने के लिए।
भारत सरकार के द्वारा कि जो निगरानी समितियां गठित की गई हैं और अर्बन क्षेत्र में जो शहरी क्षेत्र है वहाँ पे जो मोहल्ला समितियां गठित की गई हैं उनके कार्य दायित्व क्या क्या हैं।
जो सरकार के दिशा निर्देश है, गाइडलाइन है, डीएम साहब की गाइडलाइन है, उसे हम पर डे शेयर करते हैं।
सैनिटाइज पूरे गांव को कराया हमने अपने से पंचायत के माध्यम से।
मनरेगा के तहत पंचायत के अधीन इन प्रवासी मजदूरों को रोजगार दिलाना भी एक बहुत बड़ा काम है।
पर्सनली इन लोगों से जाके भी मिलते हैं, इनको फ़ोन से भी कांटेक्ट करते हैं कि यदि आपको रोजगार चाहिए तो आप रिटर्न में हमसे रोजगार की डिमांड करें।
हम डेली अपनी निगरानी रखते हैं, कौन आ रहा है, कहाँ से आ रहा है।
हमारे देश के माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी बार बार कह रहे हैं कि भाई जान है तो जहान है, सबसे पहले जान सुरक्षित रखनी है अपनी।
हर तरफ रखो साफ सफाई, सब रोगों की एक दवाई।
कोरोना महामारी भी भाइयों दूर भगेगी, भाइयों दूर भगेगी।
Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh visits forward post near line of control in Kupwara. Also visits Amarnath Cave Shrine to pay obeisance. The army is on a 2-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir as well as Leh. Three terrorists killed in an early morning encounter with security forces in South Kashmir's Shopian district. Search operation underway. With the Congress in crisis in Rajasthan, the BJP lashes out at the state government over phone tapping case, demands a CBI probe into all illegalities involving alleged phone tapping. Joint Admission Board of IITs decides to relax eligibility criteria for JEE Advanced 2020. All qualified candidates who have passed Class 12 exams will now be eligible for admission in IITs this year, irrespective of the marks obtained. The COVID-19 recovery rate near 63% with over 6.53 lakh recoveries. Active cases stand at 3.58 lakh. Many states observe weekend lockdown. Central team to visit Bihar to assess COVID-19 situation in the state. And in sports, the schedule for 2021 Olympic Games announced. Olympics to begin on the 23rd of July. Indian men's hockey team to face New Zealand on the 24th of July, while the women's team will face the Netherlands. Namaskar, you're with the latest here on DD News and DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh today visited the forward post near the line of control in Kupwara district and interacted with the soldiers deployed there. Rajnath Singh in a tweet said, and I quote, "We are extremely proud of these brave and courageous soldiers who are defending our country in every situation." The Raksha Mantri is on a 2-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir as well as Leh. Early this morning, the Raksha Mantri visited Amarnath Cave Shrine and paid obeisance at the shrine. He also reviewed preparations for the Amarnath Yatra. The annual pilgrimage is delayed this year amid a spike in COVID-19 cases across Jammu and Kashmir.
सुनाई थी, भोले बाबा इस स्थान पे बैठे थे, माँ भगवती उस स्थान पे बैठी थी। क्योंकि जो सुना
विनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पाद पंकजम्
ओम श्री
गणेशाय नमः
ओम पवित्रा
पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थांगतो विवैश्यः पद्भ्याङ्गुं शूद्रो
हेतु ओम जज्जाग्रतो दूरमुदे देवं ददु सुप्तसदथैवेति दूरंगमं ज्योतिखां ज्योतिरेक
तन्मे मनः शिव संकल्पमस्तु।
जल छोड़ दे नीचे, फिर गणेश जी का ध्यान फूल लेके हरि ओम गणानंत्वा गणपति गुं हवामहे प्रिया।
And in a major success notched up by the army in Jammu and Kashmir, 3 unidentified terrorists have been killed in an ongoing encounter. The encounter broke out between security forces and terrorists in Amshipura area of Shopian. According to officials, a joint team of Kashmir Police, 62nd RR and CRPF launched a cordon and search operation in the wee hours after forces received specific inputs about the presence of a few terrorists in the area. The search operation turned into an encounter after the hiding terrorists opened fire at the forces from the cowshed of the lone house in an orchard. The forces retaliated to the gunfire and that led to a gun battle between the two sides. The operation has been underway. It's a second encounter between security forces and terrorists in the last 24 hours in Kashmir. Now let's get you some political developments. Senior BJP leader Sambit Patra has lashed out at the Congress, calling it vacuous in Rajasthan as it's a political drama as well as conspiracy. He even asked serious questions from the Rajasthan Congress and Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. The BJP has demanded a CBI probe in the alleged phone tapping issue, including whether the SOP was being followed in phone tapping.
दुगन राजस्थान में कांग्रेस पार्टी की जो पॉलिटिकल ड्रामा चल रही है वो हम देख रहे हैं। एसओपी फॉलो हुआ, फोन टेपिंग इत्यादि किया गया, क्या संविधान को ताक पे रखा गया, क्या एक इमरजेंसी की सिचुएशन आज राजस्थान में है, क्या सभी राजनीतिक पार्टी के सभी लोगों के साथ इस प्रकार का व्यवहार किया जा रहा है, इसको लेकर सीबीआई द्वारा तत्कालीन जांच हो। और जो 10 कॉम्पिटेंट एजेंसीज हैं उनका नाम है इंटेलिजेंस ब्यूरो सीबीआई, ईडी, नारकोटिक्स कंट्रोल ब्यूरो, सेंट्रल बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस सीबीडीटी, डायरेक्टरेट ऑफ रेवेन्यू इंटेलिजेंस, नेशनल इन्वेस्टिगेशन एजेंसी एनआईए, रॉ, डायरेक्टरेट ऑफ सिग्नल इंटेलिजेंस एंड Delhi Police Commissioner.
The HRD Ministry has announced that the Indian Institutes of Technology will do away with admission criteria of minimum 75% marks in class 12 this year. Candidates clearing JEE Advanced will be eligible for admission to IITs irrespective of their class 12 marks. Union HRD Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank in a tweet said, and I quote, "Due to the partial cancellation of class 12 exams by several boards, Joint Admission Board has decided to relax the eligibility criteria for JEE Advanced 2020 qualified candidates this time. Qualified candidates who have passed class 12 examinations will now be eligible for admissions irrespective of marks obtained." And there's good news for India. According to a report released by the United Nations Development Programme and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, over 27 crore Indians have been moved out of multidimensional poverty between 2005, 2006 and 2015 and 16. The data shows that 65 out of 75 countries studied significantly reduced their multidimensional poverty levels between 2000 and 2019. According to the report, India has recorded the largest reduction in the number of people living in this category. Of the 65 countries that reduced their multidimensional poverty index or MPI value, 50 also reduced the number of people living in poverty. MPIT is the multidimensional poverty index estimate that is based on harmonized indicator definitions for strict comparability over time. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has expressed happiness over the UNDP report and termed it a big positive development. The INB Minister also shared a picture showing how India has improved. Now, the office bearers of the Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust have geared up preparations for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Ayodhya to lay the foundation stone for the construction of Ayodhya Ram Temple. Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust will hold an important meeting today to finalize preparations for this purpose. This is the Trust's first formal meeting in Ayodhya, wherein all members are likely to decide the date for starting the construction of the temple, which got delayed due to COVID-19 pandemic, and also the design of the temple. Mahant Nritya Gopal Das will chair the meeting, where 12 members will be present, whereas 3 others will join via video conferencing.
ट्रस्ट की बैठक होगी, वो भी इसी स्थान पर होगी और वहाँ का एजेंडा तैयार हुआ है। एजेंडा आज दिखा दिया गया है। 18 तारीख की ट्रस्ट की बैठक में अंतिम निर्णय होगा।
Let's now take a look at the COVID-19 update from across the country. What is happening now? A total of 6.53 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, a total of 6,53,750 people infected with the coronavirus have recovered across the country so far. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country stands at 3,58,692. And the Health Ministry has released on Friday guidelines for gated residential complexes that wish to set up small COVID care facilities in their premises. The guidelines say that the COVID care facility will be a dedicated health facility for management of suspect, asymptomatic, pre-symptomatic and very mild cases of COVID-19 among the residents of the particular gated complex, and will be set up using the resources of RWAs, residential societies or NGOs. The guidelines, however, said that the facility is not meant for elderly patients, children that is less than 10 years old, pregnant or lactating women, patients with comorbidities who shall be admitted to the appropriate COVID care health facility. The COVID care facility should have a separate entry and exit. The Health Ministry also released advisory for gated residential complexes. The advisory says that thermal screening of visitors and staff is to be carried out at entry points, and only asymptomatic individuals shall be allowed to enter the premises. Now, amid rising number of COVID-19 cases, many states have imposed partial lockdowns. In Kerala, a complete shutdown in the coastal area has begun today. The development has come soon after Chief Minister admitted that community transmission of the coronavirus has started in some of the areas of state capital Thiruvananthapuram. The second phase of further lockdown began in Pune, with only medical stores, dairies, hospitals and essential services being allowed in the city. This will go on till the 23rd of July. The Uttarakhand government has also imposed a lockdown on Saturday and Sunday. A complete lockdown is being observed in 4 districts, including capital Dehradun, during weekends. The other 3 districts are Haridwar, Nainital and Udham Singh Nagar. However, all essential services are exempted from these restrictions. And a weekend lockdown is also being observed in the entire state of Uttar Pradesh. Markets and offices are to remain closed over the weekend. However, banks will remain open on Saturday, which is today. Meanwhile, on day 2 of the 3-day lockdown, streets in Goa wore a completely deserted look. Markets across Goa are completely shut. Only medical stores and essential grocery stores are open. Milk shops were opened in the morning. According to the Section 144 order, no essential travel is allowed. Only taxis are allowed to ply. And in Odisha, in the wake of the rising COVID-19 cases, the state government has imposed a complete lockdown in 4 districts from 9 p.m. on Friday till midnight on the 31st of July. The lockdown will be in force in Ganjam, Jajpur, Cuttack and Khordha districts and Rourkela Municipal Corporation in the Sundargarh district. However, essential services will be permitted, while some offices of central and state governments would be allowed to function during the lockdown. And with Bihar seeing a spike in the number of COVID-19 cases, the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has decided to send a multidisciplinary team to the state to assess the situation. The three-member team will coordinate with state health authorities to review the existing situation and provide necessary support and guidance. Bihar is under complete lockdown till the 31st of July due to the rising cases of COVID-19. And as the COVID-19 pandemic still prevails in the country, the Election Commission has sought suggestions from all national and regional political parties regarding campaigning for the upcoming elections. In a letter written to the political parties, Election Commission has sought response till the 31st of July in order to prepare guidelines to curb the spread of the virus during election campaigning. By-polls in some states and Bihar Assembly elections are due this year. Referring to the present COVID-19 situation in the country, the EC has said the centre and state governments have already issued guidelines under the Disaster Management Act 2005 and several other laws and measures to ensure safety of people from the virus during election campaigning. In other news, BJP National President JP Nadda today interacted with BJP workers in Tripura via video conferencing. Nadda took cognizance of the work done by party workers during the period of lockdown. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu virtually inaugurated the concluding ceremony of the birth centenary celebrations of late Jaya Chamaraj Vadiyar, the Maharaj of erstwhile Mysore state. On the occasion, the Vice President said it's a great opportunity to remember the great ruler of Mysore. Mysore is famous for its culture, literature, administration and many other things.
It is indeed an opportune moment to remember a remarkable ruler, the ideal king and an able administrator who built a strong and self-reliant state, one of the most progressive states in pre-independence India. The moment you hear, you read about Mysore, you will become pleasant because of the culture, heritage, traditions, art, literature, administration, whatnot. Mysore is famous for all these qualities.
Let's now get you an update on what's happening with the monsoon. Well, flood situation in Assam remains grim as over 3,000 villages in 28 districts are still submerged. Over 100 people have lost their lives due to the floods and landslides so far, while around 36 lakh people have been affected across the state. Dhubri, Gwalpara, Barpeta and Morigaon are the worst hit, with about 4 lakh people affected in each of these districts. More than 51,000 inmates are taking shelter at 304 relief camps across the state. About 1,28,000 hectares of cropped land still remains inundated. And in a field operation which involved intricate and meticulous planning, Kaziranga National Park authorities successfully released a 2-year-old female tiger in the park, which was captured from the Bandar Dubi area in Kaziranga. Spotting animals on roads or in other residential areas in close proximity to the national park is common during flooding, but the situation has become more sensitive when tigers are involved. Kaziranga National Park authorities, on reaching the spot, tried to protect the animal, assuming she might move towards the park again or towards the Karbi Anglong side. The authorities later tranquilized her and took her to a relief camp. After a health checkup, she was released in the park again. Now, the flood situation in Bihar remains grim, with rivers in the state overflowing. Floodwaters have spread over various other parts of the state. Over 2,88,000 people living in 8 districts are badly affected due to the floods. According to a report submitted by the State Disaster Management, out of 8 districts, Darbhanga is the most affected, where 1,58,000 population of 30 Gram Panchayats located in 4 subdivisions are affected by the floods. 9,845 people have been evacuated from various flood-affected areas. More than 2,000 people are living in relief camps. The Met Department has predicted light to moderate rainfall in some parts of the state during the next 24 hours. And let's take a look at what's happening as far as the global COVID-19 situation is concerned. Well, the coronavirus has claimed the lives of more than 6 lakh people worldwide, while more than 1.4 crore people have contracted the infection so far. US and Brazil remain the worst affected in terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. The US has so far recorded over 36.47 lakh cases and over 1.39 lakh deaths, while Brazil has crossed the 20 lakh mark and recorded over 20.46 lakh infections and over 77,000 deaths. Looking at the death toll worldwide, US and Brazil are followed by the UK with over 45,300 fatalities, further followed by Mexico, Italy, France and Spain. And in Chile, the first trials of COVID-19 vaccine will begin from August, according to the country's health ministry. Health Minister Enrique París has said that the 3 vaccines that will be trialed are from Sinovac Biotech in China, CanSino Biologics in China as well, and AstraZeneca with the University of Oxford in the UK. As the number of coronavirus cases have been rising, more than 3.2 lakh after about 2,800 new cases were confirmed in the last 24 hours, the number of deaths from the pandemic has crossed the 8,000 mark in the country. The Latin American country currently ranks 6th in the world for COVID-19 cases, behind Peru and Russia. And as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to ravage the world, confining people to their homes, an art exhibition in Brazil's Sao Paulo has found a way out to help people visit the art gallery. Featuring different types of art ranging from paintings to photos to digital works, the exhibition is facilitating the visit to the gallery through a drive-by. Now, let's get you some sports updates as well. Well, the postponed Tokyo Olympics will be held at the same venues and under the same schedule as planned before the Games were delayed due to the novel coronavirus pandemic. The Tokyo Games Organizing Committee on Friday has confirmed this particular piece of news. Now, the Olympic opening ceremony is scheduled to start on the 23rd of July next year, in keeping with the plan to officially begin the Games on the 4th Friday of the month. The Tokyo Olympics were originally slated to be held this year between the 24th of July and the 9th of August, before the outbreak of the novel coronavirus resulted in the unprecedented one-year postponement. The softball tournament will start 2 days before the opening ceremony, as also planned prior to the postponement, in the northeastern Fukushima prefecture. The IOC and organizers have vowed that the games will go ahead and have said they cannot be postponed again. Both have said if they cannot be held this time, they will be cancelled. And India will start their hockey campaign at the postponed Tokyo Olympic Games, with the men's team taking on New Zealand on the 24th of July next year. Indian women's hockey team will be in action against reigning world champions Netherlands in their opening match. The 4th-ranked Indian men, who are in Pool A along with Australia, reigning champions Argentina, Spain and hosts Japan, besides the Black Sticks, in the 12-team competition, which will run from the 24th of July till the 6th of August next year. Pool B comprises world champions Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Great Britain, Canada and South Africa. In other preliminary league matches, the Indian men will take on Australia on the 25th of July, play Spain on the 27th, run into Olympic champions Argentina on the 29th of July and round off their league engagements against hosts Japan on the 30th of July. And this is happening not this year, just to make it crystal clear, it's happening next year. Olympics are taking place next year after a one-year postponement. And Leeds United's 16-year exile from the English Premier League is over. The Yorkshire side secured promotion from the second-tier championship with 2 games to spare after West Bromwich lost to Huddersfield 2-1. Seen as a sleeping giant of English soccer, Leeds won the last of its 3 English League titles in 1992 and a Champions League semi-finalist in 2001. A financial implosion led to the team being relegated from the Premier League in 2004. Coach Marcelo Bielsa has led the side to promotion in his second season in charge after finishing 3rd in the championship in 2018-19. And India's top player Koneru Hampi pulled off a 6-5 win over world number 1 Hu Yifan of China to reach the final, of the 4th and final leg of the women's speed chess championships. Hampi, the world rapid champion, overcame her Chinese opponent in a close match, with the Indian winning the decisive bullet game in Chennai. The Indian, ranked number 2, began in right earnest and won the opening game. However, Yifan fought back and the duo were involved in a close battle. Humpy, however, held her nerve and clinched a spot in the final by taking the bullet game. And that's all for the moment in this edition of the news, but the latest will continue right here on DD News and DD India through the course of the day. Up next, of course, you can join us with our medical expert for the day. You can ask all your questions related to COVID-19, any other medical issue as well. Dr. Up next.
बिजली गिरने से जुड़े तथ्यों की जानकारी आपकी जान बचा सकती है। मिथ्या, बिजली केवल सबसे ऊंची वस्तु पर प्रहार करती है। तथ्य, बिजली कहीं भी गिर सकती है। पेड़ों की जगह जमीन पर, खंभों की जगह पास पड़ी कारों पर या इमारत की जगह पार्किंग स्थल पर। मिथ्या, बिजली तूफान के दौरान पेड़ के नीचे आश्रय लेना सुरक्षित है। तथ्य, अगर बिजली पेड़ पर गिरे तो आपको करंट लग सकता है या पेड़ के गिरने से चोट लग सकती है। मिथ्या, रबर के टायर आपको बिजली से सुरक्षित रखते हैं। तथ्य, हर तरफ से बंद वाहन की धातु से बनी सतहें और छत आपको सुरक्षित रखती हैं, रबर टायर नहीं। ट्रैक्टर, मोटरसाइकिल, रिक्शा जैसे खुले वाहन सुरक्षित नहीं हैं। मिथ्या, बिजली से पीड़ित व्यक्ति को छूने से करंट लग सकता है। तथ्य, मानव शरीर बिजली संग्रह नहीं करता। प्राथमिक उपचार देने के लिए बिजली पीड़ित को छूना पूरी तरह से सुरक्षित है। तैयारी में ही समझदारी। NDMA एवं IIPHG द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
When the government says that yes, we are supporting the startup, it's not just a statement of intent. Is that yes, we believe in the capability of the startups to build a VC challenge that can meet the requirements of Government of India. We are willing to sign a contract with them to offer the solution to us.
NASSCOM did a survey of the startup ecosystem a few months back. We continue to go back to our startups to see how they're doing, and I'm very happy that more than 50% of them have successfully pivoted.
The real value will be the leaderboards that will come up, and these leaderboards will give an indication to the people that these are apps which have been tried and tested by industry experts, and people can use them without any risk of loss of data.
Today we're going to focus on convergence and collaboration when it comes to digital innovation and startup ecosystem.
I think the Atmanirbhar Bharat is an absolutely wonderful platform for us to focus on developing innovation and entrepreneurship. The demographic dividend, the pillar of infrastructure, you need digital infrastructure and digital highways.
Our goal should now be to become a zero friction innovation nation. We should make sure at every one of these levels, India should remove all the friction to innovation and build, like I said, a superpower country over the next 2 decades.
I believe this decade will be India's decade. It will be the decade for Indian digital ecosystem. And while we are $200 million digital ecosystem, will be $1 trillion digital ecosystem very soon in the next 5 years.
To reach where we need to, we don't need to, it's not catching up that we have to do, we have to leapfrog. And to do that,
we can do that?
To do that, the mantra for doing that will be innovation and collaboration.
At the center of Atmanirbhar Bharat, to me, which is purpose and vision and mission, is the Atmanirbhar Aurat. Love, right? You cannot be fighting a game, any game, if you have 50% of your population sitting and watching the game.
चन्दनतरु काष्ठमीदनं कुरुते यस्मिन् राष्ट्रे स्वकीयं भाषा तस्य राष्ट्रस्य भविष्यति किम्
जगतः पुरातनी संस्कृत भाषा पारे सहस्रं वर्षेभ्यः भारतीयैः ऋषिमुनिभिः पारंपरिको वाचन स्मरण विधिना संरक्षिता संवर्धिता संपोषिता चास्ति।
सुन 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 लड़के में क्या गुण सुन सुन दीदी सुन हे सुन 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 दीदी तेरे लिए ला 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 ला।
सीमाएं नहीं हैं, पर युद्ध तो है। शत्रु नहीं समक्ष, पर प्रहरी तो है। दुश्मन है कि जो दिखता नहीं, पर इन आंखों से छिपता नहीं। एक अलग जज्बा है इनका, समय को रोक रखा है, काल